This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the Urban Lounge, located at 241 South, 500 East, right in downtown Salt Lake City. Head on over to their website, theurbanloungeslc.com, connect with them on Twitter and Facebook, and find out about all of the upcoming shows.
Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people, making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the I Am Salt Lake podcast, episode 121. My name is Chris Hollifield. I want to personally welcome you guys out to my show today. Welcome you to the podcast all about Salt Lake City, where I take a few minutes to introduce you to the locals, professionals, musicians, authors, artists, people that are making Salt Lake City what it is today, making it a place that I can be proud to call home, making Salt Lake City just a little bit better. I got a great show for you guys today, but really quickly, I of course want to mention the website for the podcast, iamsaltlake.com. You can head on over there. All the previous episodes are right there online. You can download them. Also links for iTunes, Stitcher Radio. We're on the Mediocre Radio Network. So take a few minutes, check out the website, find out more about me, get in touch, drop me an email. Let me know if you'd like to come on the podcast. I'd love to bring you on and share your story, share with the people what you are up to here in Salt Lake City. It's kind of hard to believe it's December. Christmas is right around the corner. It's that time of the year to spend money and buy gifts for those friends and family. And I cannot recommend you enough to buy local and keep your money here in Salt Lake City. I know you guys hear it time and time again. I've mentioned it on Twitter. I've mentioned it on Facebook. It's really important to support the people in Salt Lake City. There's a lot of really great people that are doing some cool things. So next time you're out buying a gift, try to think of who can I buy it from here locally, whether that's a local artist, an author, a musician, a business owner. That is, it's really important. I've talked to some great artists. I've talked to some great authors. I've talked to some great business owners. So check out, like I mentioned on the website, check out some of those previous conversations, and maybe you can support them and get your Christmas gifts through some of those people that I brought on the podcast. You can find us, find the podcast on Facebook. Just search for I Am Salt Lake. I'm on Twitter at I Am Salt Lake, and I'll try to keep you guys up to date on anything and everything going on in and around Salt Lake City, Utah. This episode, I had an opportunity to sit down with singer-songwriter Amelia Dawn. She's a great local musician. I actually found out about her through one of the Creato One events. Jeremy Velarde had her play at one of the Creato One events. We played one of the tracks on a previous episode of the podcast. I was blown away by her music, and I was really just captured by it. And I was like, you know what? I got to bring her on the show and introduce her to everybody and find out her story. So I had the opportunity to bring her over to my apartment here in downtown Salt Lake City, get to know her a little bit better. We're going to play some of her music. Really, really great individual, really great female musician. Reminds me a lot of Jewel, which, believe it or not, I love Jewel's music, and I love her music. She plays some really great music that hopefully you guys enjoy. So anyways, I'm going to have a conversation here with her in just 2 seconds. I play a couple tracks of hers. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Share it with your family and friends. And without any more chatting on my part, why don't you join me now as I talk to Amelia Dawn and get to know her a little bit better in my downtown apartment in Salt Lake City, Utah. I heard one of your songs first time I played it when I had Jeremy on the show with one of his Creato One events. And I was just, music, I grew up listening to a lot of music, but music has kind of bored me as time has gone on. But the song, Dirty Little Secret, Dirty Little Jacket, not the title, what title are we going by with that one?
Well, I put it down on the CD as Dirty Little Jacket, but I'm now convinced, you just got to sometimes go with the whole chorus. Yeah. If you really want to make a lot of record sales, they're not going to remember Dirty Little Jacket. They're going to remember, oh, that Dirty Little Secret song. So, I think I've just got to change it.
Well, and the song, it just really, it did something. It kind of captured it was just like, I got to talk to her on my podcast. So I'm so honored to have you sitting here and chatting with me and, allowing me to get to know you a little bit better. And we'll be playing some of your music here on the show. But let's growing up, I mean, what was your first instrument that you ever played? Because you play guitar now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you play any other instruments?
I'm starting to learn how to play the piano at school. So they kind of make it a requirement for your major as a music major to be able to play the piano, with proficiency.
Are you pretty good at the piano yet, or no?
No, not at all.
Just like chopsticks.
Yeah. Well, no.
Twinkle,
it's
twinkle,
it's
little
kind of
star.
funny. Like, I have a private piano teacher, and I first took group piano one with the teacher, and it was okay, but I do so much better one-on-one with the teacher, and she motivates me. She knows I kind of have a short attention span sometimes at school. I don't know. I'm a musician.
ADD kind of all over the place.
I don't know. I can get pretty focused, but it's just sometimes things just bore me. And so the only reason I've come to school is pretty much to get out the music in my head. And so sometimes to make our lessons more enjoyable, she'll just let me work on my stuff. And so will my vocal teacher. So I get to take the real music that I'm writing right now and like be able to learn how to play it on the piano. And that's taken me farther, because you really have to, hang on there if you're going to be a musician. It's a tough.
So what was your first instrument? Like, how old were you when you started playing music?
Gosh, my mom tried to make me learn how to play the piano when I was little, probably 6, 7,
But you just
8.
didn't want to do it.
But I just wanted to be a dancer.
So you were a dancer?
Yeah.
Did you take dance lessons then?
For 10 years, I was with Local Motion Dance Studios. So.
Do you still dance now?
Yeah, for fun.
For fun?
For fun, for school dances or, just things like that. I don't know.
So how old were you when you picked up the guitar?
Probably not till 12 till I first started getting a little interested, but then at 14 I got my first guitar and it was black and shiny and I called it the Beast.
The Beast.
Yeah, it was just a little
like an acoustic, electric?
It was electric.
Wow,
and it was from Guitar Czar or whatever. I think I got for like $80 down there.
So you bought it with your own money. It wasn't.
Well, my mom came and bought it for me because I wanted it for my birthday. If I could, so.
So did you take lessons, or
not at first.
You like teach yourself how to play the guitar?
Yeah, I taught myself for about a year, and then I got guitar lessons with this lady named Diane King down in Sandy. She was great. She did a lot of finger picking, and so I had a classical guitar back then for some reason, a classical acoustic with nylon strings, and I just fell in love with that kind of a guitar. Like even now, I just barely bought a guitar, and it's the same kind. And she taught me for another year and a half, and then everything else has been on my own since then for the next 10 years or.
Did you grow up in a very musical family? I mean, was music always a big part of your life?
Kind of. Or? My mom, she required each of us to have like a sport and a guitar, like a musical instrument of some type, and that we do certain activities. So
what about like listening to music? You go into some homes and it's like their parents don't listen to music, but then you go into some and it's like, the old Fleetwood Mac or the Beatles or was music always kind of playing a lot?
It was playing a lot, but it was a lot of churchy stuff, so because my parents are LDS, and so they're really devoted too. So they like classical, or was it more like hymns and stuff like that, and primary songs, or who was that? Janice Knapp Perry. I'm probably totally butchered her name, but I know she was like a Mormon musician. Yeah, like they let us get away with maybe like David Lawns and Yanni, but
so was it like a strict household when it came to music?
Yeah.
Like, because that's how I grew up. It was like I had to hide my cassette tapes, and I had to hide, and then the parental advisory stickers.
Yep, it was terrible.
So we grew up in similar homes.
Yeah.
What kind of music were you like, or sneaking around listening to?
Well, I didn't really start like sneaking around music, I don't think, until I turned, somewhere around between I was up to like my favorite artist was Amy Grant when I was in 6th grade, 4th, 5th, 6th. And then,
I still like Amy Grant.
I know.
I actually got I got to watch her outside the fence. She just played at the fair, the state fair. And I went the night she played, and I was like, I have to stand here and listen to her sing a few songs.
Yeah.
I didn't pay to go in to go see her, but I just stood outside the fence. But so Amy Grant, you were listening to Amy Grant in 6th grade?
And I thought, that was like really bad, because I was just such a goody Mormon girl until I was about 12. And then, I don't know, then I kind of opened up and found out, I'm the only one out of 8 kids that they had that is like not Mormon anymore.
So wait, you grew up in a family of 8 kids? So you're not a nice Mormon family.
Yeah.
You grew up here in Utah?
Yeah. Same house all my life. So.
Do any of your other siblings play music too?
Yeah. My little sister plays the harp. My little brother plays the drums and the xylophone. And then, almost everybody above me plays the piano.
Have you guys just thought about getting together and jamming and playing music?
Oh, but if we did, what kind of music? It wouldn't be just like made up music, it'd just be hymns or, I don't think I could really like play hymns all day. I've had a great music appreciation, like awareness.
So they wouldn't want to play like rock and roll or anything like that you would want to play?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. They just don't enjoy it. I think they support me, but they don't like enjoy, my music. I don't know.
Let's actually play, one of the tracks. We have your CD here. Let's play one of the tracks from it before we get too far in so the listeners can kind of, hear your music for those of you that aren't familiar. What track do you want to play here?
Let's do number 8, Open.
Open. All right. Well, we'll play Open and then we'll come back and talk to Amelia Dawn some more.
You won't hold me hostage, gun against my back, preying on my nature, that I won't get you back. Empty, restless fingertips, you're waiting for the shot to click. It's idle hands and Jezebels now saying tell our story well. I don't wanna be so open, never thought I'd be this broken. All I did was hurt myself with you. Say you're fixed, say you're ashamed, but I don't really feel that change. All I did was waste my time with you. At least I have a voice, 'cause your words never were your own. So no apology could make up to me what you disowned. Humiliate to conversate you, string me up just like the bait. It's idle hands and Jezebels now. You all know the story well. I don't wanna be so open, never thought I'd be this broken. All I did was hurt myself with you. Oh, say you're fixed, say you're ashamed, but I don't really feel that change. All I did
So if you could learn, I mean, you mentioned playing the piano, you're taking piano lessons, you play the guitar.
Yeah.
Is there any other instruments you would like to learn how to play?
If I could, I think I'd probably learn like the cello or the violin. I think they're so pretty. Like I said, I think that lately I've had a real awakening for different types of music, because being in college, you have to go through lots of music 10-10 and appreciation stuff. And a lot of it that I thought before with classical music and stuff that I thought was so boring, I found pieces here and there finally that I just adore, and I think the thing is that my great strength has come into like lyrics and words and making song, that kind of thing for a song, figuring out the prosody. And so I think it's been really great that, I want to take some classical stuff, probably like the beautiful melodies, and then mix it with the words of, now about stories or things, and just.
So you're studying you're studying music in school right now. Is that what you're majoring in?
Media music is the major. It's a brand new one, very first year it's offered.
What is it? I mean, what
it's for songwriters and composers, basically. They don't have this at the University of Utah or I think anywhere else but BYU Theater Department, that they have like this kind of program.
So what do you hope to get out of this degree? Where would you like to see it take you?
Well, I guess my ultimate goal is to become an artist, just an artist, like Jewel, like Fiona Apple, like any other artist. But, if I never make it that far, I feel like I don't know. I worked in the malls for probably 10 years, just selling things and in
like
between.
Retail?
Yeah, retail.
Retail.
Yeah. Area manager, lots of that stuff, and then, what I would do during my downtime there is, I kind of hear like the music in the hallway. You just hear a beat or something. And I just naturally write music all day long until I finally had this realization that if I could just get paid, if I could write down what was in my head, I could probably just make a lot of more money doing that. And I would be happier than having to do anything else in my life, It's what I do for fun, so.
Well, and I think that's important. I think a lot of people, we work such miserable jobs just to get by, and then you die, and it's like, that's not any fun.
I know.
You might as well get up in the morning and do what you love. And that's why I'm excited to see you actually pursuing your dream.
Well, and I've done music for a long time, probably since I was 18, and I'm 28 now.
Now, what do you mean you've done music? Like played in bands?
Yeah, played. Well,
have you played in any bands?
Yeah, like I've played, not so much bands. I just do more solo, and then sometimes I'll invite people to play with me if it's a big venue. But I did Earth Jam one year.
Really?
In Galvin Plaza, Crossroads Mall before it was torn down. And Spice Cafe, I had a show every Friday night for 5 months when it was here. And Geppetto's used to pay me to play, and Nostalgia, and, Pat's Barbecue, and the Moe's Bar and Grill, and just.
It sounds like you had tons of, if these places were paying you couldn't have just kept doing that full time, or? Well,
yeah, but I kind of stopped and got married.
You stopped and got married. What is that marriage you speak of, right?
I'm divorced now, but it's I don't know. I just think that it kind of bothered him when I was in front of crowds, the attention that you might get from that.
A little jealousy.
Yeah. After a Galvin Plaza show I did really well on, I swear I sang this song by Jewel, and I held out this note just like longer than she would have even done, and I just hit it so perfect that there was a lot of attention right after. And
like what kind of attention? It just
just people coming up being like, "Oh my gosh, you're so amazing!" Like
dudes or
just people,
and he didn't like that.
Yeah, and I think that you have to, as an artist, always know your boundaries with your audience. If you're with somebody else, I'm not going to be going around. Doing stuff.
But he should be stoked for you, though.
Yeah, that's what I kind of was hoping he would.
What Jewel song was it? I love Jewel.
You Were Meant for Me.
See, and I that's kind of a weird, a lot of people probably wouldn't expect that. I love Jewel. I don't know. I got to see her actually play. Years ago, she played, I don't even know who she opened up for, out at the, fairgrounds, I think it was. Beautiful musician.
Yeah, a lot of people used to be called, that was like my other name when I was younger, probably 10 years ago when I first started playing around. I wasn't that great. I really wasn't. But like people had said that my voice reminded them of Jewel, and she was my favorite artist. I just sing to her all the time, and like that's how I learned to sing pretty much, was by
just
singing.
Listening to Jewel.
Yeah, and Fiona Apple, Lisa Loeb, just lots of girly things. And then I have this strong background in alternative music too, like Tool and System of a Down. One of my favorites is Flyleaf and Paramore. And
you ever thought about taking like a Tool song or a System of a Down and doing like an acoustic cover to it, or have you done it?
I haven't done a lot of covers. I really haven't, just because I like to do my original music so much. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm always like comparing myself to the singer who actually sings the song, you know? And I don't think vocally I'm like the strongest I could ever be, especially since starting school.
But you're probably just critical though of yourself, though,
you really
right?
learn how much you don't know when you start learning it. Like I'm in private vocal lessons, and now I find out that there's a certain thing I do every time that makes me not breathe right or close off a word, you know. And then listening to my music, whole new experience. Like, wow, you know. And it seems like we're correcting that, you know, but it's hard. It's hard because you've made this mistake for like 10 years. You've said a word this way or something.
Like a habit you've created.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then you have to break that habit.
Yeah, I have 2 really bad habits, and I don't want to.
You don't want to share them?
No, because then people will be listening for them in the songs.
But don't you think that's kind of how you grow? Like even with this, you know, CD that we have here, or any music that you've recorded, any musician, if they look back, I mean, you could look at some of the greatest musicians of all times. They probably look back to something they produced 20 years ago, and they're like, man, that's garbage. Or that's not up to, you know, their standards.
Compared to what we can do now.
Yeah. And I mean, you grow.
Yeah.
I mean, writers are the same way. I mean, you have to progress. You have to learn. And so that's how you have to look at.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess I'm saying, I think I'm just a strong songwriter and a weaker vocalist. But,
I got you.
I'm getting there, you know.
So, you obviously write your lyrics too. Where do you get your inspiration for your lyrics?
All over. I just have this never ending, like, creative thing that goes off in my brain every day. I carry lyric books around, and so I probably have like 6 of these already filled up, and you know I'm a good amount through this one right now, but it just, I don't know.
So you have so much that, I mean, you probably are never going to even add music, be able to add. You should create that into like a published book or something.
Well, and what I'm gonna do is there's different songs in there, and so sometimes I'm like going on writing a song and looking for another line, but I can't seem to find something right. And I could just go back and look at my lyrics and see if anything fits, you know, or, you know, I don't know how, but every time I write down something, usually I can remember the melody that goes with it for whatever I'm writing. You know, now that I've learned how to play the piano and a little about music, I can go to the piano, play them out, and then write them out completely. But I just did that for my first time last week with one of my first songs ever, so. Have
you played outside of Utah at all? Or just here in Salt Lake?
California a little bit.
What took you to just you went there specifically to play music?
Yeah, well, it's I don't know. When I was 18, you know, I had a really strict family, and so
how strict of a family did you have?
Really strict. I don't know. With 8 kids, like, how do you, I don't know, I would like, it's kind of like the Von Trapp family, except there's no whistles, you know, but like you just had to, you know, have your clothes off the laundry wall, your bed made, all your room picked up, your breakfast eaten, all this stuff done before you could, you know, watch TV. And then like you have to know what you're watching from what time to what time, what channel it's on, what it's rated. Like,
were you allowed to watch like PG movies growing up? See, I wasn't even allowed to watch a lot of
not
PG.
At first. It was PG. G at first. Yeah. And then PG became a little bit okay. And then, you know, anyway,
so you went to California to play. You just said, screw it, I'm going to California.
I had a boyfriend, and we hitchhiked across the western United States when I was 18.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, and I took my guitar and I played at truck stops for money and stuff. And
Tell me. Let's talk. I want to talk about this now. I've always wanted to hitchhike across the country.
Well,
that's kind of this weird dream of mine.
I just had to try it.
So where did you hitchhike from? And like,
we started here, and then we went down south, and then we had a friend with us, and he was going to Arizona first, and so we kind of hitchhiked with him down.
You just stick your thumb. You just stuck your thumb out, and people would pick you up, or
well,
what?
Yeah, with the guitar case would help a lot though, and they wouldn't normally just pick up a guy back then, and I would never say do this now because
was it? I mean,
I don't know. I wouldn't have done this alone, is what I'm saying.
You wouldn't have done it alone.
No. I just
were creeps picking you up?
No, but. Well, I wouldn't know because my boyfriend was there, So
was he a big guy?
No, not huge, but
scary. Was he scary? Like people didn't want to like mess with you. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. He had a shaved head and he just had issues.
Well, that's what I mean though. Like, how did you not get like a psychopath that picked you up?
I don't know. I guess I was just lucky. I don't know.
So what's the craziest thing that happened there in hitchhiking?
I think I had a lot more good than like crazy happen.
Well, what's the best thing then?
Well, I'm sure you heard a lot of stories. Down to Palm Springs in California after we had dropped his friend off in Arizona. We kept going to California. Our goal was to get all the way up the 101 up to Washington. And we stopped, I think it's called Palm Springs. There was like a lot of windmills over there. And, we just, it was beautiful weather and we just camped out there near this truck stop area and I would play and they liked my playing so much that they let us hang around for a couple days, probably
the truck days. Stop day. Yeah.
2 days or so. And, in that 2 days, I had so many throwdowns from people. Like, we got $100 in cash, between all the cash, like at least $100 plus a $20 gift certificate plus, food and drinks and a little poison drop ring that somebody gave me. And like, and I don't know if it's true, but my boyfriend swears it was Whitney Houston back then that like stopped in it. She had a really nice car, but I couldn't really, I guess I didn't know Whitney Houston's face that much to say yes or not, but she might have stopped and like given us $20 and was like, you remind me of me when I was younger or something, but
he was like, that's Whitney Houston.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was just like tripping.
Well, we'll say it's Whitney for the record,
Yeah, but it was really cool, like 2 days, because I think I thought I sucked before, and then I didn't really have any like solid songs back then, or like I don't even know. I really think I wasn't so amazing, but it was just fun. It was just fun to know that if I needed to, I can always rely on this. If really. So
how long were you hitchhiking for?
We just went for like 2 weeks.
And then you came back to Utah?
Uh-huh. Yeah, we probably made it all the way up to
What would you
Oregon.
do? I mean, what do you just say? Hey, takes like people would just say, how far are you going? Or say, and then you just get dropped off.
Yeah, and my boyfriend was good at talking to them. A lot of people that would pick you up just wanted a conversation. They were just, truckers on a long, they do this 2-3 times a week, and they just wanted somebody to talk to.
Did you get on their CB when you get in a truck or, can I play on your CB? That's, I love to just sit and talk and play.
I'm not really good with electronics, so it wasn't me. It was probably my boyfriend, at the time. But I was just so grateful. Most of them had like little beds in the back that you could just sleep on, and I didn't smell great, so I was really grateful.
But you probably took turns sleeping. Mm-hmm. I mean, you both weren't going to go to sleep at the same time because you didn't want to get killed.
Not in the truckers.
And you didn't have any fear of getting killed?
No, because I was with a guy,
Gosh, but still that would cross my mind. I'd be like, who is this creep picking me up? And
I don't know. My boyfriend seemed pretty tough to me at the time, I guess,
You were 18 though, right?
Yeah, but I was 18.
And how many years ago was this?
10 years ago.
10 years. It's not much difference. I mean, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't recommend that to anybody? Or
Not now. I don't know what's going on nowadays, but I don't think it's as safe as it was 10 years ago.
It's because you're older. You're older and wiser.
I guess so.
A little bit of that Jewel, kind of.
Yeah, she lived in Utah. We both kind of, what do you call it?
Is Jewel from Utah?
I thought she'd come through. No, she was born in Alaska, but she came down through Utah for a while.
Yeah. Well, she's kind of that, lived in her van and traveled the roads, and I mean,
she performed with her family a lot. That's something. I think I've always been jealous of that when people can, really have like a family band.
Well, that's what I was asking you. Have you, you got your siblings that play harps and you say drums or, I mean, you got a band right there.
I know. If only I don't know. They just
don't listen to the same kind of music.
Yeah.
Do they come out to any of your shows when you're performing?
Lately my parents have, but I think it's because it's school events. So like they came to my jazz ensemble and a choir performance. So
let's actually talk about what you're doing. Some stuff with school, like working with creating, like we were talking before we were recording, with like making some beats or something. Are these with your classmates that you're doing, or?
Yeah, this is just with a really good friend. He was in my music theory 1 and 2, and I think even my basic music theory. I'm in music theory 3, and then I have 4 to go through next semester with sight singing, 3 and 4 next semester. So we're in these really super hard classes, and we're talking like it's listen to something and write it down, or look at notes on a paper and sing it out loud. It's really intimidating, but,
so he just came to you and said, "Hey, will you make some beats for me?" Or?
Well, we kind of grew a friendship because, I was helping him a lot with his homework, and, we were doing study groups and stuff, and he started slowly showing me song by song of things that he was making. And I just think that sometimes when I have a producer like that has so many beats and stuff, they just needed to know how to organize it, and put words into it. And that's kind of where I come in. I can organize songs and write lyrics like crazy, So all of a sudden, just one day I was having really bad days, like, "Hey, well, you want to record right now?" I'm like, "Well, okay, I guess so." So we just started making music, and we've just been doing a lot with that. And
like computerized, like
MIDI.
MIDI, is that what you call it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Musical. And was it instrument digital interface or something?
Isn't that? I mean, that's almost like learning a completely different instrument, though.
Oh, but there are such amazing things. Okay, so MIDI, Salt Lake Community College has this new music recording technology program because they just opened up like I don't know how many millions of dollars it is, but the studio alone, the soundboard for it is $250,000. And the same people who designed the George Lucas Skywalker Ranch designed, this, for us. And so,
wow.
Like, you go in the control room and it's $1 million right there.
And you have access to
and that's
this?
not even, that's not even like the room next to it where the singer actually stands with all the diffusers on the wall, and you could actually have a whole orchestra in there and they could record it. And I mean, it's pro. It's so pro. It's crazy. They have like these new everything, like film rooms with like green screens, and I can't even explain how phenomenal this building is. Everything's Mac, everything's new, like everything's amazing.
Oh, Salt Lake Community. I mean, it's a great school, and I mean, not more people should take advantage of their classes, even if you're not going for credits. Just go to learn something.
Well, and this is a major I think a lot of people have wanted for a long time, but it's never been available. I'm a musician. I don't know. There's like music majors that go on for like opera and all these other things, but just to become a songwriter or a composer, they don't really have those kind of programs around here. So I don't know.
And so, it's probably been pretty nice to be able to take advantage of that. What do you think, like in the music industry though? I mean, you've been part of the music industry or working with music. Let's say the music industry as a whole, just in general. I mean, would you change anything about the big music industries? I mean, like the big labels, or, I mean, is there anything you don't like about the music industry as a musician that's been playing music for a while? Or
I just think that here in Utah, we need to shape up more. Around the rest of the nation, a songwriter could get like $90 an hour probably.
Okay.
As a fair rate, as average. And here in Utah, it's like 45. Because of all the films or whatever they have, in Park City, Utah's known for a cheap place to film movies. It's also because it's so cheap to film movies, it's cheap to get songwriters or composers too. And so they get paid at half the rate as the rest of the nation.
Wow. I see. And I didn't realize that. No.
Yeah. And it's also because Utah has this really, everything should be free. Music should be free, and it would be great, to get everything in life for free, but you have to remember that there's always somebody behind the scenes, like they're putting 10 hours into getting this sound just right,
Oh, absolutely.
All the equipment, the time, the money, and years of practice to get there, Definitely, I just really feel strongly that they need to step up their game here in Utah. I think
Well, I think that's why it's also important to buy music. Like if you go see a local band or a musician and they're selling a CD or a record, buy it, you know, because it helps them out. I mean, a lot of them are trying to make a living from their music.
And I think that when you go outside of Utah, it's a lot easier to make it in the business or whatever. I feel like we have so much talent here, just like we do with dancers, you know what I mean? We have a lot of great musicians, you know, over at different coffee shops around here that I hear playing. And I really think that, you know, we need to have a good, solid, huge label out here, you know?
Do you feel that for yourself, if you want to progress as a musician, you have to leave Utah? Do you feel like you're going to have to leave Utah if you want to make it in the music industry?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. And I know that's kind of scary because, you know, I've lived here pretty much all my life. And so, I don't know, uprooting myself for a job, like, I know there's this part of me that every winter comes around and I'm like, oh, why am I not out of here? Because I don't like the cold, right? But,
high fives.
Yeah,
high fives. I am not a fan of the cold either.
But the summers come around, I'm like, it's so beautiful and the mountains and everything recreational. Like, I would love to stay here, but I just don't think that there's so much of a scene out here. But I think that maybe with our new studios, because people all over the nation have been coming by for the last, you know, 2 months or that it's been open. People all over the nation from different universities and like Disney came by and saw it, you know. So I think, you know, part of it is we haven't had this kind of a recording studio or educational program out here before. And
so it might, you know, bring some new faces and some exposure for Salt Lake and for Utah.
And I think people are starting to see that because they see it in American Idol and on like Disney Channel. Didn't they come out and do a whole bunch of stuff here in Utah? Because we've got so much talent, singers and dancers.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've talked to film actors on the podcast and whatnot, and they've talked about there's a lot of tax breaks for films to be made here, and that's why a lot of films get made here. But let's say you had the opportunity to go on a tour with a musician or a band. Like, who's your dream musician? Right
now, this sounds so silly, I think sometimes, but I love electronic music so much. And I think one of the most beautiful vocalists ever has been Cruella.
I'm not familiar, no.
They do this song called Alive that's great. And they're two sisters that like write the lyrics together and sing it together. And then they have this amazing DJ behind them. As much as I love playing guitar and stuff, a lot of this stuff that's in my head, I can hear in like electronic music. And so I can write it down, you know, and then now I'm trying to figure out the computer side of it so that we can put the two together and I can, you know, really not have to think about anything else but maybe singing on stage, which would be so much more simpler, you know.
Yeah, than having to play.
Yeah.
Do you read a lot of books too? I mean, if you write a lot, do you read?
I did.
You did?
I did when I was a kid. I read so many books. I thought I wanted to be a librarian.
That was your dream job.
I had the Dewey Decimal System in my room.
Did you really?
When I was a little kid. And yeah, I had a
So what stopped you from reading then? Lifetime.
Just lately it's been school, honestly. I have a couple books on the back burner that I've been slowly reading through, but since school hit, you know,
you have to read the school books.
Yeah. You get assignments every day and you barely get done with them just to get another one given, you know. But I think, you know, I used to be a straight A student. I think I've gone down.
You used to be a straight A? You don't say that with much, like you're still probably good grades.
I'm at a 3.5 right now, but it's because these classes, like this sight singing / ear training that they give you 1 credit for.
Yeah.
And it's like 2 classes that should be worth like 4 credits each. I swear they're so hard. And it took my grade down from like a 3.8 or a 3.9, you know, it keeps dragging it down a little by little every semester because it's so hard for me. I got like D's and C's.
Well, you're trying. I mean, you're taking a lot of classes and you're keeping busy. What advice would you give somebody who's starting to play an instrument, starting to play music, maybe interested in playing out? They're interested in, like you mentioned, some of the places that you've played. What advice would you give somebody who's interested in going that direction? If
you want to be a professional, probably act professional. You know, get out your musical resume. Make sure that you keep your contacts in a list. Make sure that you know your material, you play it well, you know, that once you set a date with somebody, you keep in touch, you make sure it happens. And and you show up, don't. That's
is there a lot of flakes out there in the music industry?
Drummers are the worst.
Really?
I might even have like Galvin Plaza booked, and then bam, they just I'm not gonna show up, and
that would be so aggravating.
That's why I spent a lot of years just doing stuff on my own. The thing about our studio ensemble, our jazz ensemble class, but it's studio ensemble because I just basically took a band and put it together. Mm-hmm. They're letting us play whatever we want, So my little band at school, it's so hard to play with other people because, there's sound that the drum makes. It's so loud, and then the bass guitar. And if everybody doesn't have their levels, then I can't hear myself when I'm singing, and I put on a terrible performance then, So I think it's so much easier, or it has been, like when I just had control of me and my guitar, and then maybe somebody came and played lead and somebody lightly playing drums. But usually the drummers, they're not very...
The drummers are unreliable.
Even my brother, ADHD, and he's a drummer.
Wow.
So
you grew up here in Utah. You grew up here in the kind of the Salt Lake area, and it's I ask everybody who comes on, what are some of your favorite things about living in Utah? Your favorite things about Salt Lake? What are some of your favorite things about living here in the city or in the area?
Yeah, I live out in South Jordan right now. I used to live downtown here a lot.
Well, just the area as a whole, the valley,
I really like the summers. And
what do you like about the summers? Just
summer nights, because it's warm, so I'm never cold, but it's a lot more beautiful. I don't know. At night, you just want to go out and do things, not like in winter, you just want to hole up, with your hot chocolate and sweaters and just be
and
indoors.
10 blankets.
Right.
And you're just like, it's freezing.
But in the
I hate
summer,
life.
you can go out and, go skating or...
Well, it's nice because the days are longer, there's a lot more events going on in the summertime.
A lot more musical concerts.
Yeah, I find that the area kind of starts to die down a little bit in the wintertime. Mm-hmm. So it's fair to say you're not a skier or a snowboarder.
No, I'm pretty terrible.
Yeah. You're kind of like me. You live here, but you're just not a fan of that snow.
Mm-mm.
Do you get out to like, another question I always ask people is like local eating spots, Mm-hmm. I mean, we all go out to eat from time to time, some more than others, but do you have any like favorite local places that you enjoy getting a nibble from or a bite from or a meal from?
Oh gosh. Lately I've had this thing for, this little, I think it's Pho, you call it, restaurant. That's like,
Pho.
Yeah. It's
I never knew how to pronounce. I never knew how to pronounce it for the longest time either.
And it's on like 3500 South in Redwood near the Ogies. It's just a little bit east and north of it, just a tiny bit. There's like these 3 restaurants, and the one in the middle, I forget what its name is, but it is so good, and I just love all the food they have there.
I'll have to try that out.
Yeah. This barbecue chicken thing that they have with these special noodles that are kind of crunchy, and then they put this peanuts on top of it. It's really, really good.
You mentioned that you played at Pat's Barbecue. Did you ever eat any of their food?
Yeah, I like
some
Pat's
delicious barbecue
food.
food.
And Geppetto's. Have you ever eaten there?
I have. It's been a while. It's been a while
for me too. But I used to love playing there because they'd always feed you first too, So.
Was that pretty typical? Like as a musician, you would almost get a free meal as well?
There are only like if you want to just get paid, like a paying gig every weekend to play, you have to, like, I know some guy at school who I think he's Chinese or Japanese or something, but he plays, maybe it's Vietnamese, and he plays at one of those restaurants, every weekend, has a solid gig there. But a lot of the times it'll just be, I'm going to do the hookah lounge in November and then this one in December. And, I'm more of a once a monther right now with school going on. So.
But you get a free meal out of it sometimes. That's great.
Yeah. Like Spice Cafe would always do that, and Nostalgia too. And.
Well, let's run down the list how people can track you down. I know you're on Facebook. How can people find you? Is there?
Yeah, there's a band page. It's Amelia Dawn, so Amelia, like the woman pilot, Amelia. then .dawn, DAWN, like the sunrise or dawn.
And I'll get the link on the website with the podcast show notes. And you don't have any performances coming up off the top of your head. It's probably best just
in school. Yeah, just keep on the Amelia
Facebook.
Dawn Facebook, because I have no doubt that once school calms down a little bit, that like next summer is when I'm expecting to really take more flight with my music, because I'll have gone through all the music theory, songwriting, and sight singing and ear training and stuff, and finally been able to take what I hear in my head and write it down in music notation software, and then split out the parts for whoever's going to play it with me, and then we'll start playing shows. And
well, I'm excited. I'm excited to come out and get a chance to see you live when you next time you play. Anything else you want to add? And we'll end the show with the song. So I don't know what song you want to end it with, but anything else you want to add before we close out here?
Well, this last one, it's called Spend Tonight. It's track number 6. I really like it. It was a kind of a big sound, and the producer, his name's Darren Johnson. He really helped me a lot making this whole CD possible. So, if anybody's looking for anybody to record with, just maybe get a hold of my Facebook or look up Darren Johnson, DARENJOHNSON.
Okay.
Anyway, he has a great studio, $40,000 worth of equipment. He's worth it. So.
Well, awesome. Well, we'll end the show playing Spend a Night, Amelia Dawn. Again, everybody go like her Facebook page. Next time she plays here in Salt Lake, go check her out. Excellent music. Thank you so much for sitting down and chatting.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Can I find you? Are you out there? All this pressure's built up despair, and I can't compare to halves when they're unshared. So I'll have to trust our love will lead me there. Are you near? I sense you so close by. Can't see with these eyes who answers my cry, but suddenly my hand is not my own. It's the flashing lights, a glittering mess. With our lips locked hungrily, I'll confess. You're all I want, you're all I need. Being with you is ecstasy. You're all I want, you're all I need. Being with you, so could I spend tonight? And could I spend forever in those arms? Baby, I know you have got that charm, and it takes you away, away, away. Could I supposed to hear my guitar in my headphones?
Oh,